Afternoon everybody, Silverbolt here, back for Transformers Review. Firstly, I apologise for not uploading a video on Thursday, as 4 people noticed by sending me messages what happened to your video. But I've been off this week, and, well, I frankly forgot, because I've spent my week playing Neverwinter Nights 2 and painting, so... Okay, the review we're going to be doing today, as of the title screen, is Beachcomber. Now, Beachcomber's bio presents him as a pacifist, very much a pacifist, and like Hound, loves nature. He loves Earth scenery, and he'd much rather spend his time, you know, driving around the likes of coastlines and deserts, where his alt mode, a dune buggy, will of course come in quite useful. Beachcomber first shows up in the Insecticon syndrome, but it's much later in the, well, not much later, but it's later in the series, of Series 2, when he gets pretty much his own spotlight episode in the Golden Lagoon. Beachcomber is presented as having this unusually strong touch with nature, quite good for a robot, but there we go. You know, and in the episode he finds this almost Narnia-like place, where he goes through this little cave tunnel and finds this haven of Edenic peace. Edenic? Is Edenic a word? I don't know. Well, it is now, because I've just made it up. And he's sitting there and he's talking to rabbits, and I think he's talking to a deer, and he's got birds twittering around his head, and Beachcomber has got very much a hippie-esque voice. He's like, hey, hey, hoo, hey. You know, very cool, because he's presented as very cool, calm and collected, so he's got a very cool voice. I don't know what the hell that one was though. Naturally enough, this idyllic Eden is naturally disrupted by the Decepticons showing up. Thrust ends up jumping into this golden lagoon of what looks like ink, called Electrum, which, though it's on Earth, has the very unique property of making all Transformers invulnerable. My! It's almost as if nature intended it. But anyway, Beachcomber promptly puts his hand right in it and gets a golden hand, which he has for the rest of the episode. He's also... sorry, random noise from downstairs. Completely forgotten what I was going to say, but never mind. We'll go on to the next bit. He's the next main episode that you really see Beachcomber in is the episode Prime Target, where the Autobots are captured by Lord Chumley, and Beachcomber's one of the ones that gets caught. There is some controversy as to Beachcomber's appearance in the 1986 movie. Now, it has been said that the 1986 movie was scripted in that every single one of the Generation 1 Autobots show up at some point, bar the Assaults. I mean, there is a very quick shot of Gears in there at some point, which I'll get to in the Gears review, where he is. I'm not going to tell you now, because there's no point, because it's about Beachcomber. Where Beachcomber, in the scene where Daniel finds Spike, and you know the Transformers are getting on this conveyor belt, held up by claws and being dropped to this pit of acid one by one, it appears that there's a blue Transformer which could be Beachcomber just in front of Spike. But seeing as Beachcomber shows up again in Series 3, I believe his last appearance is in 5 Faces of Darkness Part 5, but I could be wrong. In fact, I probably am wrong. I'm not sure on that at all. It's very unlikely that this is actually Beachcomber that gets dropped into the acid. Beachcomber gets a brief, very brief screenshot, pretty much, in Armada, where himself and its Crosshairs, the Generation 1 Target Master Crosshairs, you see them as the camera pans across. It's my phone, typical. Camera pans across, and you see Crosshairs at the foreground, and then Beachcomber's further in the background, further away on the screen. And I think it's a flashback series of the Autobots and Decepticons fighting. In the Marvel Action Transformers, the Marvel Comics, sorry, Beachcomber is part of Blaster's group, who operate in the dead wastes of Cybertron. This group includes Powerglide, Warpath, Cosmos, and Perceptor and Sea Spray. And they're the group that goes out to save the human scientist Spanner, but of course Spanner has already been built into the space bridge by this point, and those Autobots of course blow up the space bridge and cross it to go to Earth as an act of mercy for Spanner. And that is the supposed storyline of how those particular Autobots got to Earth for the Series 2 of the cartoon. Because of course the Series 2 of the cartoon just randomly puts a load of new Transformers in there and kind of like phases out half the old ones. That's really it for Beachcomber in the comics. He is one of the ones that's deactivated by the under-based powered Starscream, and they are captured by Circuit Breaker, who plays quite a prominent role early on in the Marvel comics. Dreamwave Beachcomber doesn't really do anything. I think he only gets one very brief cameo in one of the Dreamwave comics, and as far as I'm aware, he hasn't shown up in any of the IDW stuff. But of course, aside from the spotlights, a lot of the IDW stuff focuses on the old storylines before the Transformers come to Earth. Onto the toy itself, released obviously as a second wave of Transformers. He's one of the Minibot range, which there was quite a few in the second range of the Transformers lines. There was quite a few Minibots. Entirely all plastic, pretty much, apart from maybe a couple of his screws. But other than that, entirely all plastic. You've seen me fiddling around with him. Very simple to transform. Push the arms in, push the head down, and flip the legs over. And there you have Beachcomber transformed, with my rather wonky crash cage on top. Not a bad little toy. There's nothing spectacular about it, but then there's nothing really spectacular about a lot of the Minibots. And Beachcomber is one of the most basic ones you can get. Okay, on eBay, Beachcomber should set you back no more than a £5, because this is at this point that Hasbro were just starting to churning them all out. Beachcomber himself is quite an interesting character, because a lot of the time when you get things like action films and war films and action cartoon series, battle and glory very much go hand in hand. You don't see the negative aspects to battles and war. But with Beachcomber you do. In the Golden Lagoon there's a very poignant reminder of the devastation that war causes, because the camera pans over the destruction of this lagoon with all the animals, like their homes have all been destroyed. Well, there's no dead animals, obviously. Hasbro can go and kill off the most popular of all Transformers characters Optimus Prime in the 1980s movie, but they won't show a dead deer. And the last scene in the episode of the cartoon Golden Lagoon is Beachcomber sitting down, utterly dejected, totally despairing, going, "We won." And the rest of the line doesn't really need to be told. Generation 1 really wouldn't have such poignant reminders of the brutalities of war again, really, until the Beast Wars series, with the likes of Dinobot and Dinobot Sacrifice, and episodes like Transmutate, and Dinobot's obviously a very powerful character in Beast Wars, but that's not for this video. I'd love to do a Dinobot review. Okay, but for now, this is Silverbolt, obviously with Beachcomber, signing off, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.